If you work half as hard as you need to work in America to survive there, you work half as that in Kenya here, you'll be a multimillionaire.
But they say Alex Chamwada dared them to dare abroad.
They are abroad, but not foolishly, not dreamy. You come with dreamy eyes, think there's so much money in America. Now you are expanding and spreading yourself thin. You are giving it to parallel students. You are giving it to TVET. You want to call people, come, we have money here. This is what I call stupid. And this country, this country must move away from this kind of stupidity. People must be given living wages. They will still do one or two other things, but the motivation will not be as high. To sell mandazis in the office, you don't do because you like it. You do because that's the only way you can take a packet of flour to the house in the evening.
I see.
So if you are paid well, out of every 10 people selling mandazis in the offices, you could reduce it to 3. And these 7 could now give full attention to their really work. This country is home to the worst goods from across the world. We allow things in this country, including dangerous foods. Not goods to use, food.
Under the banner of trying to be a generous economy.
Not generous, stupid.
Novelty of ideas and mastery of social media skills has made many launch successful businesses in Kenya. And majority of them are actually falling under the broader network of SMEs, that's the small and medium-sized enterprises. I'm talking about the state of side hustles in Kenya and why so many people are going that route. Now that will form the basis of our conversation today here on Business Glide. And as always, I'm Richard Mwenja, yours truly, and very humble that you've joined us on this edition. And to help me dissect into this conversation is none other than renowned public scholar, Herman Manyora. Welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you, Richard.
All right, sir.
Yes.
Well, if you look at the trend post-COVID, of course, we are not out of the woods yet, but so many Kenyans are getting into side hustle. They have their main jobs, but they are getting other income streams on the side. What will you say underpins the motivation to go into side hustles in Kenya?
First of all, this has been a Kenyan thing. Born out of the fact, I think, that we have very low salaries in this country. And therefore, many of the people who work must be doing one or two other things. This has been a very Kenyan thing.
All right.
But like you put it, during COVID and post-COVID, new ways of doing things emerged. New life kind of came on the scene.
All right.
New life. You know, people have begun to look at the world differently. People have understood the meaning of enterprise in a way they didn't understand. Because perhaps of some people were laid off, some people were partially engaged, many people were working from home, and you begin to see that it was possible you could work with your computer and move things. Then people would ask themselves, if I can do so much for my boss using a computer, why can't I put in an hour for myself? And that has meant that we have stepped up these hustles.
I see.
And as a way of mitigating the damages caused by the
COVID-19 pandemic.
COVID-19, yeah.
Somewhat, will you say COVID-19 was a blessing in disguise with regards to trade?
Every cloud has its own silver lining, they say.
I see.
Out of every calamity, adversity, out of all these problems, something sometimes comes out.
All right.
Yeah.
I see. Now that we are talking of people going into side hustles to supplement their main job salaries, will you say it's high time as a country address the subject of minimum wages? And even for those who are not employed yet, that in whatever venture they go to, they should clearly look into the subject of minimum wages to address the cost of living in Kenya?
You know, it's good for people to side hustle, but you can never tell how much injury that will occasion the main occupation.
Absolutely.
If somebody comes to your office to work for you, and they are using your internet and your computer to do their work, you can't say they are giving the best. So we need to look at this to balance. So I think we must therefore, as a country, re-engage on this issue of living wages. People must be given living wages. They will still do one or two other things, but the motivation will not be as high.
All right.
To sell mandazis in the office, you don't do because you like it. You do because That's the only way you can take a packet of flour to the house in the evening.
I see.
So if you are paid well, out of every 10 people selling mandazis in the offices, you could reduce it to 3.
All right.
And these 7 could now give full attention to their really work. So we need to consider this issue of living wages, minimum wages, so that we pay Kenyans well.
All right.
And in the long run, it has an effect, a multiplier effect on the economy. Because if you pay people well, they are even able to spend more. You see that? And when people spend more, you are growing the economy. They are also able to save. And through saving, you get investments. And through investments, you create jobs. So
Right.
paying people well has lots of benefits.
Herman Manyora, you are quite a solid employer. And from your own optic, would you say that this uptake of side hustles among many Kenyans will perhaps, in your case, get you draining some of your top talents, your main talents, because if you're not remunerating them well, they look for alternatives? Isn't this a potential threat to many employers in this country?
Let's not see it as a threat. Let's say let employers pay people well. But also let's encourage people to go into self-employment. Because at the end of the day, even if this economy was at its best, you still have people who are not employed. So we must encourage young people to be trained to look for jobs, but also to see themselves as potential employers. You know, so the entrepreneurial spirit must be calculated in our young people right from those lower levels of education.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. You are a university lecturer, and you can attest with me that it's interesting and fascinating for young students to join campus, but surviving there is a whole different ballgame. Don't you see that most of them are sacrificing academic excellence at the altar of a few bucks or coins? Because many of them are using their hobbies to go into side hustles.
You know, I am on record, and I've spoken harshly about this thing. IMF came around and they told us structural adjustment programs, SPAs, whatever they were called, structural adjust, SAPs. And we are told, pay as you eat, blah, 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 blah. So instead of feeding our children the way we used to feed, we want them to feed themselves. What do they end up doing? They end up cooking in the hostel, spending more electricity than the money perhaps we are spending on feeding on them, putting their lives at risks. In starting a sub-culture where children are even getting married out of necessity for cooking for each other.
Absolutely.
And then, like you put it, students are being forced into side hustle to survive on campus.
Yeah.
Education should be a full-time business for a student. Full-time. The environment ought to be created for a student to do nothing but study. Nothing but
Studying.
full-time business. When we make our children become small businessmen and businesswomen in the process of going, we are messing ourselves.
All right, about that, should we now tap into the potential of the Higher Education Loans Board to address such so that there's adequate funding and also not delayed funding?
You know, there are so many stupid things we can get rid of. First of all, the whole idea of a bursary is born out of something like what we call this sponsoring. What do you call it? When you give people sponsors, what do you call it?
Bursary or what?
No,
Scholarship.
bursary is a lower level. There's a higher level. Scholarship. You know, the idea is this. In society, there will be people who will be bright but unable to meet their fees if this education is not free. So in a country like that, what you need to do is to avail scholarships so that there's no bright student who misses school on account of money.
Tuition fees and accommodation.
Then we advance that and say we could also have bursaries. Because scholarships for the top, an award. But there can also be bursaries for those who are also bright but cannot afford fees. Then the third tier is a situation where we say, even when we have, after giving scholarships, we have given bursaries, there's a whole lot of Kenyans who have passed, qualified for university education, but are left out. We extend a loan to them. And that's how the idea of help comes in. But what have we done? We have spread it thin as if we were in a hurry, as if we have so much money, we are finding, tunatafuta mali ya kutupa hiyo pesa. You get the point? This is how I keep calling Kenyans stupid. Help is behaving as if it has so much money it is looking for people to give. outside the category I have shown of bright students admitted to university, the best have gotten scholarships, others have gotten bursaries, but there's still a chunk of students who are passed, admitted to public universities, having done very well, but cannot meet educational needs in terms of cost. You give them loans. Now you are expanding and spreading yourself thin. You are giving it to parallel students. You are giving it to TVET. You want to call people, come, we have money here. This is what I call stupid. And this country,
All right.
this country must move away from this kind of stupidity. You get it?
Big thinking.
There must be big thinking in this country. So if now, to answer your question, if we were not doing those stupid things of help trying to beckon everybody, pass us by, come, tuko na pesa, kama ile KEMSA. If we are not doing such a stupid things, the money help has today can almost cater adequately for university students who have been admitted by under these coups, it used to be called jobs. So that, one, you almost cater for the entire fees of a child, of a student. Instead of the 8,000, you cater almost for the entire fees through the loan, the entire fees. Secondly, we give them meal cards so that a student has access to a balanced diet, complete balanced diet while they are on campus through a meal card charged on their help account, which they will pay. That money would be enough.
All right.
But now what do? We are stupid people.
All right.
Yeah.
Looking at the flip side of the venture of side hustles,
Yes.
you'll realize that most of them operate under the ban of digital marketplaces.
Yes.
In Kenya here, we've had increased cases of fraud syndicates happening in there, and the home to substandard and counterfeit goods. Would you say that in regards to securing our marketplace with goods and services that are of efficiency and of value to the customers, the very same side hustles operating at the digital marketplace could be also a potential threat with regards to now issues of frauding and such?
Yeah, when you have something new, fraudsters will always emerge. So the digital space is new. And this space is open to fraudsters like any other new thing, any other new approach to doing things. Fraudsters are the first to happen on the scene. Defraud people of their hard-earned cash. It happens. In fact, look at cybercrime.
You order a good, it's not delivered.
You order good, it's delivered, it is fake, it's counterfeit, it's useless, or it's not delivered.
Briefcase business.
So anything new is fodder for fraudsters. But you see, it's not just a question of digital space. This country is home to the worst goods from across the world. We allow things in this country, including dangerous foods. Not goods to use, food.
Under the ban of trying to be a generous economy.
Not generous, stupid.
I see. That's a hard one from Herman Manyora. Of course, there are those who are afraid of taking the jump and saying, probably I'm not harnessing my full potential in my main job as a journalist. Yeah. Now let me go into probably car wash business. They're afraid to take that jump. And they are saying that probably side hustles are not for everyone. However, there's a counter argument that anyone can do business. Do you support that argument?
Yes, anybody can do business, but there are those who can do it better. I mean, we can't be good at everything, all of us.
All right.
We must admit there are certain things you'll be good at, I can be good at. It is true in the world that there are certain things, something's not your cake. Not everybody can be. What is required of business, not many people can do it.
Bilal from Mandera cannot be a farmer.
Maybe just can herd cattle. Nini ngamia. You see, look here, Richard. Even in traditional societies, even when I was growing up when I was a young boy, not every village person was rich and had food in the homestead. Only a few wazes had granaries. Okay, full of foodstuffs. Had cows and goats. Only a few, a handful. That tells you handling business and money and wealth is not for everybody.
All right.
Yes.
As I said in my introduction, majority of these side hustles are falling under the broader network of SMEs. If you look at majority of small and medium-sized enterprises in Kenya, very few of them are seeing their 3rd and 5th anniversary. Will you say that our taxation regime has a hand in this? Actually,
these people constitute about 80% of the entire thing.
Absolutely.
They must be taken care of. But it's also equally true, attrition is at a very high rate. They die and rarely see 5th, 6th birthday. There are all sort of factors responsible for that. What we should be saying as a country, let's remove those ones which are very easy. Let's remove those ones which are very easy. Taxation is one of them. Licenses. You know, let's remove from the way things we can do before we figure out what are the other problems. You see, unfair competition. You struggle and bring one container, 10 of you, of goods from China. Then the Chinese bring the same goods.
All right.
And sell them at wholesale. You are stuck with your... So there are many things government can do. For example, you can say, no Chinese will be allowed to come and retail certain goods in this country. You are protected, your SMEs, in that area. We can look at taxation. Give tax breaks in the manner in which Uhuru has put in place. You know, look at licensing and other factors. I'm looking at things which government can do. One morning, and you change the whole. But even after that, there will be other things. There will be the individual. You sell your goods and you go to a bar and drink. Government can't help you so much.
All right.
Yeah.
Now that you raised alarm over the issue of majority of our university students getting into side hustle instead of doing their main job, which is academic excellence,
Yes.
would you say that this could be a potential savior whereby we go back to the days where work-study programs were the thing in public universities and even private ones? If you look at, if you visit our public university right now, the number of people under work-study programs are very minimal. What happened? Is it that the universities got cash-strapped, that they cannot fund such programs, so that we get these many youths out of side hustles outside the university premises and get them under work-study programs?
I think it's basically the numbers became impossible to deal with. The university student was lost in a crowd and nobody knows them. They are just in a crowd. They are in a forest. So, you know, that thing was possible when you had manageable numbers and everybody could see Richard here is not doing well. So that even before you asked, somebody suggested to you.
They could have scouted you.
You can go to the library, we can give you something, you work in the library, arrange books,
Research
you
assistant.
get your little money and research assistant. Because the numbers were manageable. And basically because the numbers are too many now, that is no longer, it's not, students don't have any identity. You don't know nobody even knows the students in the first place. The university doesn't even know the students. So, but again, because management has been becoming poorer and poorer over years. Okay? You know, people, the early managers were really managers. Now this is just people who get jobs because they know so and so.
All right.
And again, there's also the question of too much money. On the contrary, don't say cash trap. There was too much money from some of these income generating activities. Mm-hmm. When you have so much money, people lose focus, and all the brains were directed at the money the universities were generating from the late 1990s. So there are a host of factors why those arrangements are not in place, but we should introduce them.
I see.
Yeah.
The very last, sir. Kenya's labor migration industry is growing. We've seen hundreds of thousands of Kenyans going to Dubai, going to United States of America, seeking employment opportunities and greener pastures. However, there's a contrast here. When they get there, they come back and tell you, I'm juggling between 4 to 5 jobs just so to meet my needs. Side hustles all over the place. Will you say an economy full of people taking up several jobs already alarms that probably the other side is not as green as we think?
But I have always told people, if you go to America and you're just an average Kenyan, you are not a high-placed professional.
A state officer.
You are just some Kenyan
from Moisbridge
with some miserable degree and from Moisbridge, and you go to America. The amount of effort you'll put in just to survive, and the Kenyans don't seem to understand, just to survive. Let's say, let's measure the units of hard work, which might be by way of the number of jobs you are doing and so on and so forth. How hard do you work? Let us measure it and say it is 10 units of something or 10 kilos of work to survive in America, to survive. If you put in 3 kilos of the same work in Kenya here, you'll be a millionaire. Yes? If you work half as hard as you need to work in America to survive there, you work half as that in Kenya here, you'll be a multimillionaire.
But they say Alex Chamoda dared them to dare abroad.
They are abroad, but not foolishly, not dreamy. You come with dreamy eyes, think there's so much money in America. People even whose parents die, and they recently have a friend, the father died. He couldn't even make it. You can't raise a ticket to come and bury your father, not because you have become too westernized not to do it, but because you looked around, you can't even afford a ticket, and you've been in America for 15 years. Watu waache mchezo. Watu wapende nchi yao na watu wafanye bidii wakiwa hapa.
All right. You've reminded me, a neighbor of ours sold the entire property to go to America.
Yes, it's a green card.
And he came back with nothing.
Yes, it is bad. Kenyans think America is...
All
and
right.
it's Kenya. In Uganda, they are not valued. Let me give you a name as you wind up. When you come from America and come to Kenya, every girl will look for you with your stupid suits and nice, you know, people and your stupid accent. In Uganda, wanaitwa becheyo, becheyo. Cheyo is a broom. Say becheyo to mean those who have gone to sweep in America, coming to show off in Uganda, they will tell you off. It's not like Kenya here.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, that takes us to the wrap of this conversation here on Business Glide. And as always, we make it a bit interesting, humorous, toning down on the monotonous and robotic way of doing business reporting and analyzing the performance of economy. That's why Business Glide exists in the first place. And always make sure you're tuned to every of these editions. Our fan of the week is none other than Father Martin Tanui in Moisbridge.
From Moisbridge,
Yeah.
Father Tanui. Haujambo Father, na tunafurahi sana kuwa na wewe. Thank you for being a member of the family and appreciating us. Thank you very much.
I see. Make sure you get posted on African Proverb of the Day. Also, on this edition, we'll have a Swahili one. Make sure you get posted on that. Has a lot of wisdom in there that could be of significance to you and probably your loved one. Until next time on Business Glide, God bless. See you then.